So welcome everybody to our Silver Wisdom interview with the awesome Evelyne Brink. And I've got the title of this one right. We've had some interesting attempts at getting this Silver Wisdom interview together, haven't we, Evelyne?
Yep.
Yep. And now I've got the title correct, or the one that I want, which is, This is a Woman Who Never Takes No for an Answer. And and I've known you now, Evelyne, since, I don't know, it's well over a decade, isn't it? I mean, maybe 15 years or something. And you've always blown me away. I've always seen you pop up on my timeline, and you take life by the horns. And that's kind of what I wanted to share and explore today with our members of Silver Synergy who've come into this Zoom room with us, is that ability to be so focused and so clear about what you want to experience in life. And even when you get the most extraordinary curveballs, it's like, I'm still going after what I'd really love. And then we can explore what you're doing now. So so I'd love to start, Evelyne, with you sharing a little bit about how you became Europe's #1, or maybe the world's #1 Madonna tribute. Because there's a great story behind that, isn't there?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Okay. So I was known as Europe's #1 Madonna impersonator once upon a time. And that all began with, where does it begin? It began, I think it really began in New York. So I lived in New York for a year. I wanted to be a performer. My life's ambition was to be a performer, to sing my own songs, to have my own show, to be on stage and shine. And so I took myself to New York. And that's a bit of an abbreviation, because the thing that's really behind all that is what I call the calling. And I hope that some of you can resonate with that. Sometimes we have a calling in life. We're called to do something, or we're called forward for something. It doesn't have to be for your entire life, but we're called to do something. And I was called to travel after I studied musical theater and I was kicked out. I was called to travel. So I did, and met people, and I downloaded songs, and I healed my voice. And then I was called to New York. I could feel that I needed to be in New York City to train and express myself and do my thing, be discovered, something. I don't know, just go to New York, get your training. So I followed that. And in New York, there were quite a few people who would turn their heads at me and go, "Oh my God, you look like Madonna." And it's a great honor to be called that, because I wanted to be a performer. So it must mean that I have some, maybe I have some star quality. I mean, and it was really amazing. Like, it was amazing. I lived in the quarter that Madonna lived in when she was in New York. So all the people from way back then were there, and quite a few stopped me like, "Oh my God, I carried the water bottles for Madonna. She used to buy vegetables here, and she made me take her stuff upstairs." I mean, I got all these stories from people that stopped me. So there was always this relationship between me and Madonna, because apparently I looked like her. I had one contact in New York, and that contact lived in the music building. Now that's the place where Madonna got her first record deal. So there was this lady, and she's like, "Oh my God, can you see how everybody's looking at you in the lift? I mean, they can't believe it. They can't even hold it together. They all think you're Madonna." And I thought, no, maybe you're a bit, exaggerating. But she's like, did you just see that? Like, they thinking that everybody's thinking that. This is completely crazy. So that's where it became really strong, this whole Madonna affiliation and connection. But it was only when I moved to England, to Brighton, and I was waitressing, as you do as an actress. "Oh my God, you must be an actress. The way you just read the menu, you must be an actress." Yes. So I was waitressing in Brighton, as you do, and this one lady said, "Do you know who you look like?" And I'm like, "No." "Who do I look like?" you know, you look like Madonna. Has anybody ever told you look like Madonna? I'm like, yeah, you should do a Madonna tribute act. A what? A tribute act. You see, that's where you sing her songs, and you do a show, like you wear a costume, you do Madonna. I'm like, I sing her songs? Why would I do that? I write my own songs. Why I wouldn't sing Madonna, so it makes no sense. And then walked back in to get the next thing, and I realized, well, hang on a minute, I'm carrying coffee right now. If I was doing this Madonna tribute act, that sounds really cheap and cheesy to me right now, but wouldn't it be acting? If I was to do a Madonna thing, wouldn't it be acting? Wouldn't that be singing? And her songs are pretty good. Wouldn't that be dancing? Ooh, I thought, oh, actually, if somebody came and said, Evelyne, we want you to play in the theater and we give you the role of the Queen of Pop, I'd be delighted. It's like, oh, hang on a minute, this is great. So I decided that this was going to be a great opportunity to do an acting project. And I think a week or two later, I saw an announcement in the stage newspaper. We are looking for tribute acts. I took up the phone. I'm like, hello. I would like to apply to be Madonna. And it's the weirdest thing to say, right? It's like, hello, I'm this young woman living in Brighton from Germany who is waitressing for a living. And I think I could do the Queen of Pop. Anyway, they invited me to the audition, and I used the song that I've recorded with Sony Music in Germany, about which people also said I sounded like Madonna. So I just sang that. Then they were blown off. Their socks came off, something like that. It was very smelly in the room suddenly. How do you say that? They were blown off their socks. You can't do it. It doesn't work that way round, right?
It blew their socks off.
It blew their socks off, because I can't blow socks off, technically. Got it. It blew their socks off. Thank you very much. And they said, please be our Madonna. I said, okay, then. They got me costumes. They got me a choreographer. They got me the gigs. And that's how it all got started. That's
And
the beginning.
I had the privilege of actually seeing you. You did a Madonna for us, didn't you? When I was running that aspect of proper strings, and you came and did a performance for us. And I mean, you blew our socks off. Like, I've just never seen anything like it. And you're dancing, like, honestly. I mean, you know this. You've heard this a million times, but I was just
please.
so blown away. Can I take you back just very briefly to the fact that when you were much younger, before you even got that far, you were told that you'd never be able to sing like that your voice was not capable of carrying that kind of vocal flexibility and accuracy.
Yeah, I had a dysfunctional voice, so I had around 5 notes to my range, and I grew up not being able to sing, but really wanting to express a lot. So it was very frustrating. I started singing at the age of 17 when I heard a singer called Patricia Cass. Does anyone know her? No, she's not that well known in England, very well known in France, very well known in France. And our French teacher played her in a French lesson, and she has a low voice, and her voice is really sumptuous, sexy, and low, and and I heard her, I'm like, I can do that. And my music teacher was like, okay, calm down. And I'm like, no, I like that I can do. And so I practiced this song from Patricia Cass, and a week or two later sang it in music class, and everyone went, oh my God. And then my music teacher said, can you sing that in front of the school? I'm like, yeah. And so I became the singer overnight with that song, because she has, such a low voice, like, il joue avec mon cœur, il dit da di da da, da di di des mots d'amour, et moi je crois tout ce qu'il me dit. It was very, very low, and it suited me very well. And I loved it. And so suddenly I had this power, this expression vehicle of singing, but only started at 17. And then the journey began to see, okay, well, what else can I do? And I started having singing lessons, and it was very awkward with an opera teacher who does all these high notes, and I couldn't. And And then I went on this journey of healing my voice. So I really have a 10-year journey of healing my voice. And to me, that is a spiritual journey. It is a heart-opening journey. It is a understanding where guidance really comes from and feeling silver threads and following my voice into past lives kind of journey. Many aspects I haven't spoken about yet, but I think I will more over time. It led me to a very deep and rich world of healing and esoterics. Yeah.
And you did it, didn't you? Your doctor said it was impossible,
hmm
and you just went, right, okay, I'm just going to do this my way.
Yeah.
Kept that clear focus and did whatever. I mean, you just went for it and somehow found that path to actually healing your voice and then being able to sing. Like when we were talking before, you said that you did, oh, where were you? Was it South America? And you said that oh, I don't know, maybe you tell the story of doing that. The music didn't.
Oh, well, the music didn't work. That was so fun, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, I was told I had a dysfunctional voice. I was told I was never going to be a singer. I was even threatened in musical theater school to be kicked out because of that. And let's say 10 years later, when I was examined in London by one of the top voice specialists, where all the West End people go, and he did this laryngoscopy, and his comment was, "Oh, look at that, a happy singer's larynx." That was like absolutely triumphant. And I did that by following the calling, following where I needed to go, finding my teachers, spending a lot of time sitting in vocal meditations, speaking to presence. Yeah. And that means that I'm able to do things with my voice that possibly a normal singer isn't, because I have a different relationship and connection to what the voice stands for, means, does, represents, symbolizes. And one of the stories we had was in South America. It was in Mexico. I was booked to open a lounge, and they absolutely adore the song "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," like nobody's business. And so that was going to be the big finale, the big encore. So I've done the show. It was a great show. Everybody was happy. And then the encore. And I've never sung that song before because in England, nobody cares about it. It's like Evita was a bit boring. Nobody needs that. Give us like a virgin or Material Girl, to do something, but not that. So first time, the room is silent. The music starts. I'm thinking, that sounds like a song, but I'll start singing. So I start singing. And the more I'm singing, the more the music kind of goes this way and my melody goes that way. And I'm thinking, this is really odd. I don't think this is the right song, or I missed I'm probably in the wrong place. But I better do something before this goes completely wrong and everybody knows. So I stop. I'm like, sorry. I think I'm not in the right place. Can we start again? So he starts again. I start again. The same thing happens. I'm like, shit. What are we going to do? Oh, I'm going to do, oh my God. In a minute, we're all going to know that I'm not on the right thing. I said, I'm sorry. Is this the right track? And this is so cringeworthy, right? Because you're in a place where everybody's just waiting for this performance. Is this the right track? That just breaks it all. It just shows what a cheap shit show this is. Backing track. It's not. And he's like, yeah, that's the track I have. That's the track I have. I'm like, I don't think it's the right track. Try another track. And then he starts fumbling around, and you can just feel the atmosphere just dying a death. Is cringeworthy. It's embarrassing. It's like, and this is the end of a really big evening of a really big show that flown me across the ocean, and is all falling apart in front of my eyes, right? It's like, and you have two options. You have this, either we're going into this certain death and we just let it all fall to pieces, or something has to happen. Something has to give. So I took a deep breath and I said, stop it. Stop. Just stop. I'm going to sing a cappella. And you could hear the audience gasp, right? Like, I'm like, okay. And then it got really, really, really silent. And I took some really deep breaths. And then I started. It won't be easy I don't even know the words anymore. Find it strange, ba-da-dee-da-da-da-la-la-la-la-la. And you could hear a pin drop all over the place. And there was a tension, and it became really beautiful as my voice carried all through the room. And it became a magical thing. And it was the most divine experience on stage I've ever had to date. It was so present, is the word I have. It was so real. It was so in the moment. It was all on me and nothing was on me, because I wasn't singing for me. I call this like channeling or vesseling the song through me, and I gave it to them openly, and everybody received it, and I received them receiving it. The room was dark. I could feel that energy exchange and that vibration that just became so strong and big. Oh my God, it was amazing. So after that, right, rapturous applause, standing ovation, and it was the highlight of the whole evening. Oh my God, the show was great, but that last thing you did, wow. And to me, it means like doing Madonna is great. It's nice. Bless my heart. Bless my little cotton socks. But to have an opportunity to actually bring the power of music into people's hearts, that's what I've been looking for. And that's what I got that evening.
I'm really moved by this story in a way that I didn't experience when you told me before. I was blown away by it, but something's moved me really deeply with everything that you've shared so far. And I feel like it's that vulnerability that comes through with your extraordinary strength. And I think that had it been me, I'd have just dived off the stage and blamed it on them. But the fact that you held that space, and I can quite imagine that presence, I can really imagine that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to take that leap. Oh, there's two things. So actually, if we've got time, you were also telling me about that opportunity that you had. And this was a little different to not taking no for an answer, but it was being very true to your heart, even though you were being offered potentially the most amazing chance. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah.
And I was really taken with the decision that you made then and the reason that you made it. Maybe you'd share that with us.
Yeah, happily. Yeah, it's interesting, right? There's something about not taking no for an answer, and there's something underneath that, which is the reason why I look like I don't take no for an answer. And that's just that this calling. If I know there's something that I need to do, I will do that. It doesn't really matter what they say or what the format is. Like in that story with Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, I was there to open that lounge and to create a special evening. And then I am here to liberate. And I'm a bit like an osteopath for the soul. I realign that, and I do that with my voice, my music, my energy. So I'm not going to let a situation come and take that all away. I will be there until I've done that thing. I don't know how, but I'm there to do that thing. So that's what's underneath. When I was so in New York towards the end of the year, I had the opportunity, is humble bullshit speak, for I created, and I was very honored that it worked out, the opportunity to have my own one-woman show in one of the most prestigious venues for cabaret in New York City. And that's a story by itself. But after that happened, somebody heard me and they said, "Oh my God, you're so talented. I need to connect you to someone who I think will really, really like you." And so I think I can mention his name because he's dead now, so it might be okay. So it's Hank Ballard. I was connected to Hank Ballard, who's a rock and roll star. He's got a star in the Hall of Fame and everything. And he said he was going to invest $60,000 into my first album. And this news came just as I had gone back to Brighton. I was in love with an Englishman in Brighton, and I was there with him, finally, safe in his arms and all that good stuff. And I get this email: Hank Ballard wants to invest $60,000. I need you to come back to New York at once. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess so. You have to go. Um, and it was very exciting. First, I had to find somewhere to stay because my flat wasn't available anymore. So did I share that story with you, that I had 4 days to find myself accommodation? Yeah. But no budget. So it was a good combination. And I ended up actually in the yoga ashram doing polishing Buddha statues and working in service of the light, as we call it. I'm literally basically dusting off the lights and working with the fans, which I also appreciate. I said to the universe, I want fans, and I am in the service of the light. I was literally dusting fans and making sure the lights were working fine. So that's where I lived. And then I could explore this situation with the $60,000 record deal. And every time I met this agent who put us together, there was a very strange feeling about her, because the way she spoke and where we had to speak to Hank Ballard was very dubious. We had to go into hotel lobbies, into the basement, to a payphone, to not be overheard. Because if somebody finds out, they'll probably want to snatch you, and the whole deal might fall apart. So we're going to have to be really secretive. We can't talk in the building because Frank, the supervisor, has ears everywhere. You see, he's listening in. So you can't talk there. You can't talk on the street because you never know who's there. So it was like, let's just keep it a secret, keep it really private, and hush your voice down. You understand me? I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I really understand, but we'll go with it because it is what it is. And every time I spoke to Hank, the stories were becoming more and more colorful. It just takes 10 days and the money will be there. My idea is to just get the money out of some stocks and bonds, and his family thinks he's crazy. But in 10 days, we can get started. And he spoke to William Morris agency, and they're really keen. And Sony Music are really, really interested. And we're going to get a flat, and then we can write in a night together. Even if we get up and we're inspired, we can just get up and write. And I'm like, I really like sleeping in the night. I don't know. And you don't really want to be in a flat with like an older man. That's just sounds like the stories you are warned about, Okay, don't worry about it. But I just mean we need to be somewhere we can really work. We can, okay, blah, blah, blah. Every time we spoke, the stories become bigger and brighter, but it was always 10 days until it gets started. Just one more thing that needs to be happening. It was weird and tight. And when I spoke about my partner in Brighton, then she got really angry. What are you going to do with him? He's going to put you in a golden cage. And once he's going to throw away the key. You're going to see men. They just want to lock you up. They just want to own you. You've got so much talent. Don't throw it away, girl. Like, don't throw it away. So the situation got really, I was young, right? You're talking to a 23-year-old, very optimistic, hopeful person with a lot of talent. But opportunities like that don't present themselves every day. And I'm on my own in this big city, in this secretive, weird place, in a yoga ashram, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to meditate, do my yoga, do my vocal exercises, write my songs, and then have meetings with a man in LA in a basement lobby. It's just, yeah. At some point, I felt so terrible, and it always took about 2 hours talking to my love in Brighton to feel normal again. I had to ask myself the question if this was worth it. Like, is that what success is? That you sacrifice somewhat your integrity, or is this my fear holding me back? And as somebody I was very big on following my heart. I'm like, my heart is not happy. It is what I said I wanted, but my heart is not happy. What do I do? I long to be with this man in Brighton, but am I throwing it all away? But I don't want to pay the price to pay for success is feeling like this and compromising on my love and having to be secretive, and then maybe that's not right. Maybe that's not what maybe I don't want success, because maybe this is a test from spirit. Do you listen to your heart? Do you follow your heart? Now I'm going to go and throw all the things you want at you. Will you follow your heart? So I decided that it was a test from spirit in that way, and that following my heart was going to pay out sooner or later, and that it was not about sacrificing this feeling, this integrity, this freedom. And it felt like a big thing to say no to, really. So I'm aware not every day somebody comes and says, we're going to create an album for you. So anyway, I decided I was going to record all my songs and then get the hell out of New York. And so that's what I did.
That's it's so powerful, isn't it? Like, and just, just that sense of knowing which is the path, which, if you're being offered everything, but the fact that it was so weird probably helped.
Yeah, I mean, that was the pointer. But then I want to say, and then I moved to Brighton, and then I got a record deal, and it was great, and became really famous and successful, and I knew I'd made the right decision. Unfortunately, that is not how the story continues. The story continues that I moved to Brighton, I was with my love, it was lovely, and I had no money, and I had to go waitressing, and I went to Universal Records with my CD, very hopeful, and the guy at Universal said, meh. And I felt very crushed. And I applied to places to play, and they wouldn't book me because I was too classy for a pub. And the bigger venues, I didn't have an audience. And so I was very stuck for a very long time in that regard. And that led me to a whole different question about what the hell is this following your heart and everything works out about? Because quite frankly, I followed my heart, and I went broke and confused and lonely in a way. Very satisfied to be with a man that I loved, but very disoriented in many other ways. I said, "What the hell?" And so yeah, the discussion with God began in a way, right?
In hindsight, if you'd known that then at that point,
Mm.
that it wasn't going to turn into this, like, beautiful golden path to stardom, would you have made a different decision at that point?
No, I don't think so.
Mm.
I don't think so, because this following my heart is not just about to be paid. Follow your heart so you get rich. That's I'm if I'm 100% honest, which I try to be as honest as I dare. My idea was, if you follow your heart, everything works out. You also will have the money, but it isn't the main motivation. The main motivation of follow your heart is to follow your heart. There is an inner peace. There is a sense of that I value very, very much. I like money. I like money, but I will choose this peace and this life, flow, force, presence anytime. I'm an artist. Yeah. So no, I would have made the same decision. It's just, I guess it's an interesting thing to disconnect those pieces and everything else will fall into place. No, not necessarily. In fact, everything else might fall out of place. And
Well,
yet.
Also, then we get to your beautiful son, if you're happy to talk about that, because that's a huge illustration of absolutely not taking I'm going to get confused about my title again. Just refusing to accept when people say this isn't going to work, not taking no for an answer.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is. And it's an interesting segue. The segue, I think, I want to build the segue from one story to the other, which is there's something about presence, there's something about life flow, there's something about the dedication to being alive that is really important to me. And that is something that I bring in when people come to me to become more visible, to up-level their game, to really elevate themselves. That's the part that's underlying. There's a willingness to be alive and a willingness to follow your calling and a willingness to step up that I can transmit from that place. So now we're going to go back to, how does that go into this? Oh, she doesn't take no for an answer. Well, no, because no is not an answer. It's just a response. So once upon a time, 12 years ago, I had a baby. I mean, and there was something not quite right with the baby, they said, when I had my second scan or so. And then it all intensified. And basically, when he was born, they took him away, they operated him, stitched him back together, took us in the silent room, which is never a good place to go, looked at the floor and said, "We're really, really sorry, but we don't think he's going to make it. We have never seen anything like it. We've taken all the pieces of the small intestine out that were not not good. It was a complete mess in there, and it, it's just there's just nothing there. We've got maybe 10 centimeters of a duodenum. We don't even have a colon. We brought what we had to the surface, but we haven't seen anything like it." Now the surgeon was senior. He had gray hair. He was maybe in his 60s. So if he had been 20, I'm like, "Yeah, of course you haven't seen it there. When he started yesterday, mate." But this guy has not started yesterday. He's done this all his life. So that had quite an impact. My response to that was, "Is there no hope?" To which they said, "Well, you can never say that there's absolutely no hope because there is never 100% guarantee. And then you can also not have a 100% guarantee here." I said, "Great. So there's hope." "Yeah, we just don't want to give you false hope." I said, "I get it, but there's hope." Because hope is that thing that we have, just that little seed of light in the darkness. I said, "So we have a little tiny bit of hope. So why don't we take that bit of hope and then grow it from there?" And I saw their looks, and I felt like writing a story about a disillusioned woman who thinks she can change the world or something, with her illusion. Not disillusion, illusion woman, like delusional woman. They looked at me like that, a bit like, "No, yeah, it's hard to listen to, it's hard to hear. We get it, we get it. But okay, let's go with this hope thing. What can we do? What are the options? What's happening?" And I said, "Well, we can get the specialist team in after the weekend and see." I'm like, "Great, let's do that then." So there, specialists came in that taught us about something called TPN, total parenteral nutrition, which is basically getting nutrition into the central bloodstream. So rather than digesting food, you just get it into the blood with a line that sits on top of your heart. People live on that. You can try that. But one of you will never work again, he said, looking at, of course, the woman in the room. And I said, "Oh, we'll see about that. Let's take it one step at a time, shall we?" And we had to make a decision whether we wanted to keep this child and take on this enormous thing or not. So that was it wasn't a big choice to make. It was a choice to make. It was a choice to make. It was big thoughts to be confronted with, for sure. Where do you put your criteria, whether something is worthy of your care or should be alive, or maybe it's better let go? How do you decide? So those kind of questions are big questions, and I got to ask them actually twice with both children, but that's a different story. But with this one, my criteria that I found for myself was, if you can have a life where you can play football, meaning you have free enough to move around and you can enjoy things in the outside and the inside, and you're not dependent on machines nonstop and sitting in, you have a life, you have some sort of freedom. I think it's a life worth living. And I'll be taking that on because that's what I've been given. So yeah, I'll have it. And there we go. My son is 12 years old now. He's thriving. He goes to mainstream school. He has surpassed quite a few hurdles that they weren't sure he could, from getting out of nappies, because when you don't have a bowel, it means you don't form stool. So everything's very loose. I mean, say very loose, I mean liquid. To be able to hold that, yes, I got him dry. He's a normal. If you met him, you wouldn't know there's anything different. He's an amazing little boy. He's 12, so he's really annoying at times. Papa tween, moody as hell now at times, but also very, very sweet, very wise. And we go through lots of challenges. It's an ongoing story. It's, never, stories don't end like, "And now everything's fine," as people say. "So is your son better now?" Well, he still doesn't have an intestine, It's an ongoing, that's literally his life. Every day I have to do the cares for him. And it comes with lots of challenges, but he's there and he's doing great. And so am I. And here we are. First known survivor of that little gut from birth.
And for anybody interested, there is a book available that you wrote, isn't there?
Yes,
On
in my spare time.
yes, that elusive spare time.
Oh God, that did. I honestly, if anyone says, if any of you ladies were thinking of writing a book, but you think you don't have time, you're probably right. I didn't have time either because I lived in hospital in the daytime, and at night I went home. I cooked some dinner, did the washing, and then got up in the night to express my breasts 2 or 3 times, and then got back in hospital in the morning. So if anyone had no time, that was me. And somehow I managed to write. Well, I wrote newsletters. I kind of wrote a monthly what happened thing. And then after we got home from hospital, which was, oh, they said in the best case scenario, 2 to 4 years in hospital. And I took him home after 7 months. That was another little triumph. And then I started editing that book eventually with a friend of mine. Took us 2 years, but we made a book out of it. And we did, I mean, there was no time as such. And the book has been created. So if there's a book in us and it wants to come out and you have a calling for that book, then listen and do the first little thing, because it's possible even without time to do it, apparently. Don't ask me how. I did it, but
But it is that calling. I think I
Mhm.
think that's what it is, isn't it? That absolute. You have to get that out.
It
Just
just needs to be
there
there.
isn't
Yeah.
there isn't a no in there, is there? So it's like
No.
you have to say yes to that.
It's just a yes. That's what needs to happen here. I knew the story was extraordinary. And if I didn't write it down, it wouldn't be written down. And it literally is the first time that the things we came up with, the treatments that we did, the discussions I had, it was so amazing to be in a room with such intelligent, highly trained people, and they listened to me. I loved that. We were brainstorming because they didn't know. So I'm like, what about this? And they go, like, yeah, but because of this, this, and this, and this, we can't. I'm like, okay, thanks for telling me. But then what about that? And couldn't we do this? No, I guess we could. For example, like he had two, these things that very sick children have always got these lines in their face. He had two here and two in his mouth. And I said, do we need that many? And they had an argument for it. And then I said, well, I think we can do with less. And if we can't, we could put them back in. True? Yes. So could we run the experiment? I guess so. And so that got him 1 less, 2 less, 3 less, until he was only with 1. Very big difference in life quality, whether you have 4 things through your or 1. But it takes this kind of brainstorming. Or what can we do to grow this colon? Then the consultant said, oh, yeah, we put this mix in and we put it in there. And then we had to use tubes that they weren't meant to be used for that. We used tubes that are tubes they're for colon irrigation, to take stuff out. We use them to put stuff in, but into a fistula. So that means the colon that's brought out through the stomach. So we were inventive. Together, we collaborated on stuff. Hilarious meeting with the community nurses when we discussed going home and we said what we're doing. And the nurse is like, well, we can't use those tubes for that matter because they're only insured to be used for this purpose. Well, like, yeah, but we need that tube because it's silicone, it's flexible, so it's safe to do that. We're going to have to use something that's licensed for that purpose. Well, that doesn't exist as such because we just basically made this up. And she was like, and we're like, "Gah! You can't work with that mindset on something new." Yeah. So it was such an honor to be in a space where we were creating with a human being.
Just phenomenal. And it's we can do that in any area of our life around anything, can't we?
Yes.
Be that creative. And how powerful for that medical team to work with a mother that was
Hmm.
not going to just go, oh, okay,
Mm-mm.
and
Never.
to have that consistent determination and clarity. And you raised them up.
Yes.
You
In some ways. So we were the first people to ever leave the neonatal unit to go home for a day and come back. That's just never been done. And it shouldn't be done because of bacteria and safety. We were the first people to do that. And I mean, we had like the corridor of the nurses standing for us to leave and then come back. And it it was really moving for not just us, for everyone. We were groundbreaking. We did new things. Yeah.
phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And you know, the surgeon, so the doctor, the consultant, people have very different minds. You have this kind of devil's advocate mind, and you have the possibility thinker mind. You've got the visionary. The devil's advocate consultant, who was always like, no, I don't think we can do this. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think so. No. I said to him, when do you think I could take Tuffel out? Like, when will he feel the sunshine on his skin? He's been in a neonatal unit from birth. Like, when will he have wind in his hair? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, he'd have to have his blood sugar stable, maybe a year or so. I don't know. I don't know that. I can't tell. I can't tell. Ask the next person. Well, it's a good idea. Good question. I mean, I don't see why we shouldn't try to put him on a pump with just sugar solution for a bit, see if the blood sugar is stable. When that's stable, then we can go on a saline solution. If he can be stable on that, there's no reason to take him out. But wait a minute. Couldn't we take those pumps with us? Yeah, I guess those pumps you could take with you because they're smaller. So we could try that on a battery. So, okay, great. When could we try it? Well, we'll start tonight or tomorrow. So it changed. It's a big, long story. The book is called It Takes Guts, a story of love, hope, and a missing bowel. And it's on Amazon. And the consultant that was my naysayer, I was told, has the book on his desk now. Yeah, has the book on his desk now because it showed him what's possible. And I don't write about him lightly, you know? I rate him so much for that.
Yeah. Oh, Evelyne, really, what a shining star and role model you are. I mean, my heart is just like right now. So how do we do that? You're very good at segues. I love your segues because, of course, we're here to hear your story and to learn from you. And we want to create an opportunity to work with you for those of us who would love to, how did you describe it, be more visible.
Yeah.
To hone our skills as speakers in public or on camera or whatever it might be. So I know that there's going to be an amazing segue from that to what you do now and what you bring to people like us who might want to come and play.
Come and play. Huh? No pressure. Okay, segue. Come to me. Come to me, magical segue. So the thought that occurred to me is that for women I love the silver tent, the whole concept of let's go through menopause and realize that it's actually not the end, it's a new beginning. And I was very fortunate to have a body worker who raved about stopping her periods and coming into this new phase of life. She's like, it's the best thing ever. You're going to love it. Got so much energy and you get to really birth your own projects now. All the energy is for you. This is bringing yourself forward into a new place when before all the energy is cooped up in reproduction. You go into a whole different space spiritually, mentally, physically, and it's exciting. And I've really got that. I'm like, wow, this is very, very interesting. Now, most people don't know just how exciting it can be. And then I love that people like you create spaces for women to come together and go, no, actually, here we are. This is exciting. We are here. We're not here to shrivel down like raisins. We're here to thrive and to be seen and to really come out of this functional womanhood into a creative womanhood, a powerful womanhood. So in a way, for each and every one of you, it is like my son. It's never been done before. It's been done before, but it's never been done before because you haven't done it in this body before. But you have the opportunity to step up and to level up and to rise up and to shine up and to step forward and create something new and change. Our entire society needs to be changed around. Now, what if, imagine, in a few decades, women past 50 were the ones that are adored and worshipped again? Like that we look up and we see the beauty and we see like whatever it is that you like. I like sexy, like the sass, the sexiness, the beauty, the sensuality, the power, the creativity of women in that space. And it starts with the women seeing that first and owning the shit out of it, as I say in technical terms, right? Coaching Latin. So that's exciting. because that plays into my whole thing about this presence, the calling, being called forward, the yes to life, the, feeling into what life wants from me in this moment. So this is where I play. I like to say, I like I said it on a call on Monday, and I said to my assistant, we need to say this more often. If you ever felt that you're too much, or you've been told you're too much, you've been afraid that you're too much, yeah, or you are too much, that is an entry requirement to my world. Then we
Great.
can talk. We can talk. If you've never entered that sphere, go get a life and then come back to me later. But I want to step into this place of, we're so afraid of this too muchness, of this, it's too much out there. Oh, if I go there, I might never come back. And then, if I say that, they'll put me in a mental home. No, they won't. Not 2024. We're good now. We're good now. It's time to step up and say those things and take the power. Maybe take the power back, but or maybe just take the power for the first time. I don't care. Just take the power. Be there. Be present. This is it. This is it. So that's where I like to play. I like to live. I like to call forward. I like to stand in the fire with my people. So that's the segue, Francesca.
That's a fantastic segue.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm in.
Yay! What are we doing? What are we doing? Great. Yeah, it's fascinating. The journey is fascinating. The callings are fascinating. I'm called more and more into a deeper spiritual space, into a leadership that's more really from the inner world, as much as the outer world, because that's the thing, right? I guess this is the thing with someone like me. I haven't talked as much about all the experiences I have in the spiritual realm, but they come through when I am in the outside world. That's why I can do what I can do in the outside world, because I go all the way there. So on a practical basis, where you can play with me is in amplifying your impact, deepening your impact. If you say, I have a calling to be out, I need to be visible, I need to speak, I need to be free when I show up, I need to be in my power when I'm on a stage, on camera, I need to make videos of messages that are utterly important. I want to show myself. I want to write a book. I want to speak about that damn book. Because just writing about the book is not going to do much. Somebody has to know that you wrote that book. I want to speak about that book. I want to make myself known to really share the message that I'm here to share. If that's where you are called for, I'm I'm the person that helps you do that. And I do that very quickly and very succinctly with people. It's fun. But they say I get to somebody's brilliance very quickly. I can feel people. So sometimes when they don't yet know what they want to say, and they explain it this way and that way and this one, and I go, oh, you're saying this, and they go like, yes, like that. And I say, well, it's recorded. Learn that by heart and say that. And then they come back and then they say that, and we're moving forward. We're evolving them. We're developing the material, and then we're developing the way that you show up. Because believe it or not, we're not born that way. Nobody's born a great speaker. Nobody's born this amazing presence, this confident nature on stage, come what may. No, we're not born like that. There's a skill. We develop that skill. And so that's somewhere where I play very practically with people on developing those skills. And in a way, I've used this a lot as my shop window. Public speaking. Fall in love with public speaking. Deepen your impact. Become your greatest version of yourself. So the people that need to hear those words, come play with me on that level. Then there's, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't realize that you were carrying on at that point. I tuned in before the call, before this Zoom interview, to just ask my intuitive muse what would be the end result of this particular interview, and I didn't anticipate what came through, but it was exactly that. It was about us creating as a community or as a group this much higher level of visibility and impact. There's like, oh, wow, I thought that was further down the line. But it's like, this is a really amazing stepping stone. And I am completely blown away, Evelyne, completely. So back to you.
Thank you. I think that's, for me, that's next step. That's why this group exists. Because women need to rise. We need to rise and be seen. It's so funny. My face is very white here, right? Because I've got direct sunlight on it. I feel a bit like a vampire. I'm not that pale in real life, but I'm sitting in front of a window and it's like, "Brah!" Just aware of that. But
So,
we need to be seen, right? And I say I know I'm not quite in that thing yet. I'm approaching, but I'm still a little bit under 50. Sorry. I'll get there, I promise. Give me
we
give me
don't
2 years.
mind.
2 years. 2 years, people, and I'll be there. In numbers, but I don't believe in those numbers anyway. They're all a bit strange to me. The point is that we dare to turn this whole trajectory around from it's all going downhill to there's no hill. There's just no hill. There's no prison. There's no holding. This is a free, very free plane. And I find that exciting. I don't know if you cruise your own consciousness, there's a space of complete freedom and pure possibility, and anything is just there. When I'm in that spaces, like in a lucid dream or in a it's a space where you can just lift off and fly. It's the space where you stand on a stage and the right words just come out of you and they touch the audience. It's that space where you download effortlessly the messages that you're given to give, right? It's that space where you are whatever you are. That's interesting. So the other part of the work with me is to work on this calling. What is calling me? What is the calling? What does it want from me? Where is my resistance to it? And the relationship to that calling, and really stepping more and more into that and becoming that freedom that you are. So it's realizing the freedom, which is why I call my process freedomizing. Right? So there's liberating, is when you know you're stuck, you're tied up, and we need to unleash you. Great, love it. And then there's freedomizing, where you realize the freedom that you already are.
So, can I open the floor to questions, Evelyne?
Please do. I love questions. I love talking to real people.
I mean, I'm keeping an eye on the time because, I mean, I just feel that we could go on for so long. But we already have a question from Sue Bailey. So Sue Bailey, take yourself off mute.
I hope you noticed that I was chuckling. I had my mic off. But when you changed voice to illustrate a point, that was so powerful. That was just delicious. And I find that when you were talking about your son, I love that absolute determination and the way that you drove the process. And it inspires me, because only yesterday I heard of a situation where a young person had been trying to get medical help for, well, I've known him pre-COVID, and the doctors are saying, oh, well, we can't do that because the mental health team, when you're free of them, then we can do it. Or we can't do that because you don't have an autism assessment. When you've got, do you know what I mean? And I just feel like being for that scenario, like you are for your son. You know, I feel like just ripping the National Health Service and saying, look, you know. So yes. I always feel like that when I see an injustice. But hearing you talk about your lens on the world, just, I mean, Franny knows that when I get excited, I get all, but I am just so inspired. It's like, there's another woman on this planet that's equally whatever, you know. It's just so beautiful. It makes me feel less mad. I'm so glad I came on. I came on immediately as I saw the post. I hadn't seen it until I went, oh, bang. So, yes.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Do you have a question as well, Sue, or you just wanted to share that?
I just want to know, there is a little question there, which is, when you changed voices, is that technique or is it just your personality?
What's the difference? Both. So both, right? So I'm a trained actress, so I can do stuff with my body and my voice. I can do characters because I've practiced them a lot. Is it my personality? Well, yeah, because I'm playful. It's also your personality, and it's easy. It's one of the simplest things to do when you're telling a story. Give each character a different voice. Like this morning, I was chatting to my carpenter about the filing cabinet, whether we're going to put it in this cupboard or out of this cupboard. And I said, Jack, it has to be somewhere so I can get to that latest utility bill when Margaret from the council asks me, as per usual, I need to see a utility bill from no later than 3 months old. The last one you said is, unfortunately, that's not valid. It's got the wrong address. I need the one with the right reference number. Do you have another utility bill you can get for me? And so
I love it. Oh, I love
it's
it.
so
I could
fun,
sit
right?
and
So, but you
listen to
just
you
make
for
the
hours.
and I promise you, Margaret from the council never sounded like this. But to me, because you annoyed the heck out of me, I make her sound like that to express myself, right? Sometimes you speak
So
to.
I've just got another question that's
Go on
emerged.
then.
I wrote something called No More, and in it I wrote little, I call them moments, about different facets of me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I never, which to teach about autism and to teach about neurodiversity. So they've got names like Phoenix Poppy and Nina Namaste and Sue Shem, and I can't remember.
Yes.
And the thought of giving them voices, oh my
Mm.
God, when I was mute as a child and I can give these character voices, holy shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
fun. Is Nina Namaste? I imagine her going, hello. We're going to get really calm now and talk about this in a calm voice. I hate you, and nothing's ever going to change, but let's be grateful for what we
Oh,
have.
I want to send you all my characters now. Oh my God. I'll pay you to create a voice for each of them. Oh my God.
Why not?
Why not? Did you
Why
say
not?
why not?
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Wow!
It'll be fun.
Oh, holy wow! Oh my God.
You do get excited. See, I mean, isn't that so sweet when a human being is really real and excited? I get excited too. I love making voices and characters, and maybe you like to do them for yourself as well. But I'll happily make character voices
But
for
what
you.
you're doing is you're showing me how somebody outside of my, I guess, micro download mixed with real experience, mixed with pretense, which is what they are, can sound. It's like I don't know how to do a different voice because I know the reality of that aspect of the self. And therefore, because I know that reality, I know that one might be more playful and one might be, whatever, but it's because they're already written. I mean, I can send you a PDF today, but I hadn't ever considered what they might sound like to the outside world. I can write about them. I can paint about them. I've painted pictures that depict them, but I haven't a clue about the voice. Oh my God.
There you go, new dimension.
Oh my God.
New dimension unlocked. So it's interesting when it comes to human expression, how we all have a propensity to certain places. Some of you are writers, so you know how to express really beautifully through the written word. But when we ask you to speak, you go, that can happen. Some of you are speakers. You don't want to sit down and write. Oh gosh, the thought of that. But speaking it allows you to experience yourself in the moment. Then there's the aspect of what do I do with my voice? There's a vocal expression that's possible. There's a physical expression that's possible. Many people haven't explored that, so they speak like this. They don't know how to move their body with that. I've dealt with expression for so long that I'm very passionate about this. How do we bring what's in there out there? And there are many dimensions of this. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Evelyne, and thank you, Sue. We've got a question from Dee. Dee, do you want to ask this personally, or do you want me to read it out? Where's Dee?
Go on, Dee.
Ask it personally. Where are you, Dee?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, Dee, you're not visible. Can we see you?
No, I'm in the car and it
That's
won't
fine.
let me turn my camera on.
What's your question, Dee?
I have to go very, very soon, but yeah, I wrote it down just in case I couldn't speak to you. But I just want to say thank you very much for your interview. It just touched me very deeply. But the thing is that I'm a singer as well, and I'd like to know, how can I transfer the confidence I have singing on stage as a persona, as my stage name, as a different person, into the just directly into me as I speak about things that matter to me on stage, on camera, or when I'm speaking to other people, and I'm trying to get my message across. I find that the confidence as a singer doesn't transfer to like, it's just little old me kind of thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Can you imagine how it was to transfer from being Madonna to being Evelyne?
Oh yes.
So I feel you, yeah. And then there's from singing to speaking, there's from persona to myself. It's a process. I wish I had 1, 2, 3 steps. You do this, you do. So step 1, what you do is, it doesn't work like that. But it's if we were talking one-to-one, I would want to know what's going on in your head when you just say the little old me, because I bet you're neither little nor old nor just you. There's no such thing as just me or little or old. But when we connect you to you, the words I have is like your essence, your power, your greatness, your who you actually are, your ability, your sense, maybe even the fact that you are a vessel where something wants to come through, your heart, something like that. Whatever word is that touches you, that's when it gets interesting. But the differentiation, oh, it's just me versus that's me as the singer. That's where we need to work and stretch.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I get it.
that's a process. Yeah, thank you. It's a really beautiful question. And the expectation that we should be able to transfer the skill from one to the other is really hard on us, because we're like, oh, I should, but the fact that I can't means I'm even more shit than I thought I was. And it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
But you might need to grow yourself up in areas that you just haven't. And so having a persona, putting on a mask, allows us to step into a field of confidence that might not be our own yet, but we can access it that way, right? I could access the complete superstar through the Madonna guys.
Right.
And I wouldn't have dared to do as Evelyne, because nobody knows Evelyne. So if Evelyne prounces around on stage like everybody wants, like believing everybody wants her, and it's like a bit weird. But if I do that at Madonna, people are literally worshiping me, licking my boots.
Yeah.
So I could borrow some of that for a while. And then I've used the process to go, well, hang on a minute. But so Evelyne has this, I have this star capacity, but I also have this huge insecurity. And I hope they have all these spaces where I'm not sure about myself. And these spaces need a lot of loving. Okay. And so that's a process to start loving these spaces and growing these spaces up, nurturing these spaces like a parent, a really good parent, nurtures their child when they're upset. Not the impatient one that goes, get on with it. And not that one. That's also important. But I mean, that really good parent that just takes you in their arms and goes, I love you. I see you. You're okay. And then the next time it's just a little bit better and a little bit better, and a little bit better. So it's a really beautiful process. That's what coaching is for, I think, to go through these processes together. And self-work where you just go through those processes alone. It's not one or the other.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'd love to explore that a little bit more with you. So thank you very much.
Sure. Please do.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
So thank you, Dee. And Evelyne, is that something that would be incorporated somehow in the group, the series of offerings that you're going to offer us?
So no, absolutely not. If I make an offering, it will be strictly a plan, and we stick to the plan, and then we stick it to the man. So no, the way I work is very feminine. It's very bespoke. If you have a question, then it is my greatest pleasure and intention to answer that question. I'm here to really nourish deeply. So I couldn't care less about the program I've designed. I care very deeply about the people that I serve. Once you're in my world, that's what you'll find out. I will throw everything away if I can get to the point that needed to be gotten to. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. So, are there any more questions? We're running a little bit over time now, but I just want to see if there's anybody else.
Elizabeth.
Okay.
Elizabeth was
Hi.
waving hands. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you. That was inspiring. But something just came to me as you were talking just in the last few minutes, where you said, yeah, it's fine when you're Madonna, you channel Madonna and you're out there and people are adoring you. And then it was harder to be Evelyne, but you had that inside of you, knowing that you could be a persona and be adored. What if you're just, and I'm not going to say I'm little old me, I have the confidence, I am me. And when I'm coaching, and it's what I wrote about in my book, it's about people knowing who they are, knowing what they want, living life on their terms, and literally going, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to live my life as me. But my question is, so I am me. I am not famous. I don't have this following. I am talking about it now. Every time I, talk to even just a small group of people who've never heard of me and never known anything about my book, people buy my book. So it's gradually starting to get on a roll. But I don't want to be just on this, I want this rolling stone to gather the moss and roll down the hill and just explode, because I want millions of people to read this book, because I know the message is important. But I just, apart from little incremental stuff, I have no frigging clue how to get from here to there. Just I'm doing little bits and it's not enough.
Interesting. What's the question?
That is, what would you suggest? Apart from just keep talking, just keep being there. I know that I just have to keep being me. I'm very much not about putting on my, the mask. For me, there are no masks. I am what I am, and I believe that people will see through a mask that's not in integrity. So, I just, I want to know how to speed things up, really, about creating that visibility, about ramping up that visibility.
Love it. Okay.
Because nobody knows me.
That's not true, because you've been speaking to, there are people who know you and bought your book, but you,
Yeah, okay.
but I hear you want a lot more people to know you. So there's a strategy thing, and then there's an inner world thing, right? The strategy thing, you can go online, go, how do I get known? And you get on that. Well, what you do is you create a thing called an Instagram account, and then you incessantly go on it. And then you use keywords and SEO. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can get that. That's easy, right? You don't need to hear that from me, how that works.
Not got all that.
Yeah. Right. And you can do that on YouTube too. You have a YouTube channel, you make a YouTube channel, you go YouTube SEO. There's the collaborative approach. You collaborate with people who have communities and put yourself in front of those communities. That's actually a really good strategy, because that goes, let's put it this way. You know who Robert Holden is?
Yeah.
But how did Robert Holden explode? Do you remember?
There was, I mean, he was all over the place. He was in communities. He was talking to people. I remember going to see him. I met him.
Okay. He was on Oprah. Once he was on Oprah.
Oh, was he on Oprah?
Oh, once he on Oprah. Boom. Now he's in #1 bestseller, and it's much easier to get to. So
yeah,
the communities open the doors, and then sometimes you get somebody who really takes you and go like, oh my God, fuck, this is amazing. I need this woman, I need this man on there, and boom. So you want to create yourself the opportunity. You want to create yourself in a way that this opportunity isn't out of the, oh my God, how did Oprah find me here? But if you are active speaking to communities and you're speaking powerfully, then the chances of somebody picking you up are much higher. We don't manipulate that part, but we do create it. The people who are very well known have people that reach out and reach out and reach out. I'm on a lot of podcasts. A lot of them I get invited in now, but I've got a team reaching out to others. So it's,
yeah.
It's so from a strategic place, there's things that can be done from that there. And then there is the bigger thing, is the inside piece. Is the, and see, people say, I'm really ready to be visible. I get excited. And I know that it's not 100% true, because at the point where we're really that willing and that ready, we probably would be. So there's a deeper coaching process available to go, what's the part of me that actually goes, oh, God, if they all know me, what does that mean about me? What do I have to be? Who do I have to be? How do I remain my authentic self when 10,000 people want my autograph? Those kind of questions and more, whatever they are for you, those are the interesting ones to explore. And so with those two things in tandem, we're going places. And that also means that when you create a message for your Instagram following or your YouTube or whichever channel you use, okay, my battery is running low. This is fun. I know what I'm going to do. I might have to change my internet access. 1 second. Then, 1 second.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Are we back? We're back?
Yeah, you're back.
We're back. Okay, okay. Bit less of a good connection, but anyway, my computer won't die. So I think it's that thing in tandem. And then we learn to speak our messages in an even more concise way, even more succinctly, even more, you know, the difference between an eau de toilette and an eau de parfum, or an oil and an essential oil. I'll help you become an essential oil. And then is that has an effect on people too.
Okay, that is awesome. I love that metaphor. I can, that totally resonates.
Oh, good. Yay.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you.
I
Pleasure.
want to be an essential oil.
Be an essential oil, ladies. Let's be essential oils. And with one.
Thank you. So should we just, one more question I think we have time for, if anyone has one.
How do we get in touch with you, just briefly?
Yes, it's a good one. Rather than just asking the universe to deliver me to your door, you can email me. So I'm very present on social media and on email. Very simple, eve@evelynbrink.com. My name is Evelyne Brink, so it's eve@evelynbrink.com. My website is evelynbrink.com. You can sign up there. I write regular articles. I have some freebies on my website and beautiful programs, things that you might be interested in. I think did we talk about something to give to your wonderful people? No, we didn't. Like,
No.
I have the Business by Pleasure manifesto that I think you would really love.
Fantastic.
The Business by Pleasure so Business by Pleasure is my philosophy about how to up-level business in a feminine way. So I've translated quite a few of the very masculine oriented codes of success into how does that translate to feminine? How do we get away from this adrenaline focused freaking achievers mindset into a more oxytocinating, collaborative, feminine approach of nourishing and regenerative energy? And so the manifesto of that is kind of a bit like, a way piece that's, I love it. I look at it and it makes me smile. So that's on my website. You can download that for free, evelynbrink.com.
Brilliant.
And for those, I mean, Francesca, will you talk about the idea that we had for playing together? Is that something you?
Yes. So what I'd love is everybody who's watching this live and everybody who's watching this as a recording, if you're interested in exploring getting a group together to actually work, play, explore, experience Evelyne and us up-leveling our visibility and our ability to actually be visible like that, then to let me know, and then I'll come back to you, Evelyne, because I think, did you say it was a series of 5 or 6 sessions?
So, yeah, we had this. So Francesca and I brainstormed, and I told her about the Impact Amplifiers, a program that I designed. And Francesca said, "Oh my God, imagine if we could do that just for our women. Wouldn't that be cool?" And I said, "Yes, that would be cool, because you're all of a certain ilk and we have certain, there's commonalities on topics and themes. So it'd be extremely potent to get you together and deal with those topics and essential oil you in one thing." And the Impact Amplifier has 5 2-hour sessions. And we're dealing with a voice, with storytelling, with how do I condense my story, with a persona, will stretch you in a variety of ways. And as said before, like, we might throw the whole thing aboard and go somewhere completely different if that's what needs to be done. As long as the results, for me, it's important that at the end you'll think, wow, I am really so much more able to express myself clearly and powerfully, and it's noticeable, like it's palpable. Nobody gets out of working with me and people go like, oh, that's nice, thanks, I loved it. It's like, no. I mean, I want you to love it, but I want, like, things are changing. We're moving things. We're here to evolve. I'm leading an evolution. Haha.
Well,
We're here to evolve, to grow.
I'm so excited about this, Evelyne, and interesting what you were saying to Liz, that if we say, oh, I'm ready to increase my visibility, if I really was, I would have. I'm absolutely ready to increase my visibility, and I know that there's a pathway, a journey to that, and for me, it's absolutely with you. So anybody that wants to join me, just let me know, and then we'll explore dates and pricing and all of that kind of thing, so that we really weave together something very powerful for all of us.
Something very beautiful. Yes. And so I think it's maybe a little word on pricing and things like that, because it's often a topic that people are afraid of, and they're like, oh, I'm so inspired, I love things, but I don't want to spend money on it. And that's when everything falls apart again, right? You're like, from yay to, oh, can't afford that, shit. If you look at my website, depending on where you come from, you might find that my prices are a bit higher. It depends where you come from. If you're used to spending tens of thousands, then maybe they're not. I'm being told that I'm charging too little, but by some people, and other people fall over backwards of the back of their chairs when they see my prices. They are what they are, and they're not on the. I don't play on the lower field of pricing. I play on the field where we're making sure that investments are investments. They stretch you, and they take you to the next level on all sorts of fronts. And it's challenging because it's not like a, it's not like a trip to Asda. We're more in the Gucci kind of range, but without having just the label, without the substance behind it. So what I'm trying to say is it's worth to make an investment in yourself when you know the investment is for something worthwhile, right? I don't think you need a new beautiful website. A lot of people spend a lot of money on beautiful websites. You do not need a beautiful website to make yourself visible. But what you do need is your essence. If you can walk into a room and everybody knows who you are afterwards, you've won. If you can make a video that people are watching and responding to and are moved by and remember you by, and ideally pick up the phone and say, I want to work with you, then we're winning. Then we're moving forward. That's worth investing in, right? It's your impact that you're having on people. Not all this outside stuff, not the next money-making strategy, not the next online course on how to, but if we can amp up on our essence, and especially in this phase of our lives, that's, I think, where we're winning. Because the main thing that's going to be holding people back is not being truly visible, having that flame, that life force flame up when you're speaking. You might have it up individually as people, but when you're speaking, when you're being seen, when you're in the spotlight, are you shining brightly so that we cannot but listen to you? That's what we're on about. And to me, that is the essence of it all. That's the essence. With that, a strategy will work. Without that, the strategy will not work. So don't be afraid to invest in yourself in that. Let's rather make a really clear plan of how we help you to make money back, rather than shy away from, oh, it does cost money. It will cost money, because to be able to be on this level, yes, I need to also eat and feed children and do further and further development. So of course there's an investment. And I've also said to Francesca, I'm more than happy to create, like, we're going to create a little bit of extracurricular program on the pricing level. And this is where groups are nice, right? So when people come with me for VIP day, for example, they pay 10,000. And they do a retreat 1-to-1, they pay around 50,000. We're not going to play in that price bracket together. We're going to lower it down to make it possible, because it's important that we do this work and I really want to do it. I love doing this work. And if I can feel that people are up for it, then I'm up for it. I'm burning. And money is not the main motivator. It's a currency we need to play. It's the power and an energy we need to play with. And if any of you have any issues around that, then we can address that too, because it's part of your power to very clearly step in and say, and this is what I charge.
Yes.
Right? And stop undercharging. Stop being in that space where, oh, that's expensive. I don't know if I can afford that. No, absolutely no. There's no, I don't know if I can afford that. You want it, you get it. Stop. Like, that's how it has to be for us. We're powerful women. So that's the mindset I would love for you to get into. If you are no to it, then it doesn't matter how much it costs. No is no. Even if it was £50, don't get it, because it's a no. But yes is yes, and money is secondary. And we can make it happen. If you need practical, help or coaching around that, let's do that. But don't be afraid of saying yes. Okay. And I just want you to know this is, it's not gonna be cheapy. But likewise, I'm not here to charge you the biggest prices that I discuss with the corporates that I'm working with.
Oh, fantastic. And I'm afraid I'm just going to take the L'Oreal quote that, because we're worth it.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
worth it. So, Evelyne Brink, thank you so much for bringing your full presence and glorious self into our silver world today. Just honestly, massive blessings. And I really feel that every full start we've had to get to this interview has been worth it, because this has just been sensational. And thank you to everybody who's joined us live today, because you've brought that energy too. So yes, thank you to all of you, and I will see you all soon. And Evelyne, we'll talk really soon. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Francesca. You're so good at this. It's unreal. Beautiful. And thank you to each and every one for showing up and being here with me. Thank you.
Lots and lots of love to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.